in a different way apart from the default state which we have just seen here. By default, this is how it will stay. Like I said, divs would want to, take all of the row to themselves, and we don't want another element to, come to the side or stay by it. So to avert this, or to give us what we want, we would have to include the CSS styling for float. Okay, so we have float left. Now this is it. When you include float left here, it is also necessary to include it on the second element. If you don't, this is what you would get. You can see that. Now actually element 1, which is green, is on top. It's more like it's floating, while the other element, which is the purple one, element 2, is underneath, is under of the green, this green div you're seeing. The purple element is actually under. That's not floatable, and since the green one, that's element 1, is now floatable, it's more like, give room to the other div to take its place, kind of. So the other thing, what we need to do now is to also float element to make it a floatable element too. So would float it left. Now one may say, why are we not floating it right? Okay, let me do this first. Save. Okay, are we seeing it now? Whoa, like it came out. Yes, float left is more like you have this div on its own floated to the left. This can also join floating this way, such that if you now have like 3-4 divs, just keep floating them to the left. So this will just stay, this will be like, after this comes this, float the other to the left, let them just keep making up the line from the left. I can however float this to the right, but like I said, it's better to do it this way, float to the left, especially when you have more than 2. You want to have more than 2 divs here, in a case where you have about 3 of them. And so the space you're seeing here is the 5%. We had something called margin, right? And we said this is up, down, top, bottom, left, right. Am I right? Now remember that this is in percentage. I'm going to take the percentage of the screen. The width of this window is what it's taking as 100%, and so 5% of that screen is this. And so imagine this space here, you're having it here for the purple, you have another one here for the green, and that's why this place is looking a bit big. It's quite large. So based on what you want, you can always adjust that. Let me give an instance of what I mean. Let's say I want the margins to be 2%. That will give us a thinner space, and of course I've taken out 3, that gives me 6 out of my 50, and so I should be able to work with 46% for width. It leaves me with 6 extras. So the width of the div, always make sure your math is correct on this calculation, so that you don't get confused at some point, or it doesn't look like something is not right. It will definitely distort your arrangement. Are we together? So that you can see the difference now. We made some adjustment, and that's why you're having that. You can also increase the height and whatever you want to do. Now the next thing I want us to quickly look at is this. Look at this thin line you're seeing up here. That's for the session. This session 1. Let me go there. Session 1. This div. Now the thin line appeared after we included float. This thicker line, this border, what does it mean? Actually, what's happening in the background is that section 1 has actually folded itself to a close, because this both elements are now floatable. They no longer force that div to take the height, to take its height based on this element. Now let me explain this a bit further. Let's say we have section 1. You remember we did not add any height here, so let me put HEIGHT, and I give it since these are 200, let me see, I'm adding something. Am I padding? Okay, I don't have any padding in it. I have a bit of margin, so let me give it 240 pixel. Sorry, 220 pixel because of the 1010, 240 pixel, 220 pixel, sorry. So let's see this. Are you seeing it now? You can see that the session 1 opened up itself. Now, like I said, one of the things we want to achieve here is a responsive layout, such that if this is a mobile version, I expect this purple to come, under. As soon as the screen compresses, I expect the purple to come under, and I don't want to distort, so I want this height actually to be dynamic, more like automatic based on its content. So how do I do that? Because if I give it a static height of 220, it will forever remain 220. There's nothing you're going to do that will make it bigger than 220. You get it? Because the next thing, if you try to force it, you'll see a scroll bar. So let's see what we're going to do. To do that, I'm going to remove this height, leave it the way it is. Then there are several tricks to it. There are several tricks. Some persons will advise that you do something like inline blocks, like you would do for menu item, but this is the one I use most times. For every time I have to do something like this, I include a div, which I call more like a sub footer for every session, so that it would not be a floating div. It would be a static div. Now, mind you, this has nothing to do with display. I know display has a lot of positioning has a whole lot, but float is quite different. It's similar but quite different. So it would not have any floating characteristic or feature. So let's see what this would be. I can just call it ID. Okay, I'll be using it in case you want to always use it. Let me use it as class. Class sub footer, or I can just put it as section footer. Now, this div is going to do what I want it to do. Now, remember I said when it's ID, you use the hash, right? The hash character. When it's a class, you use a dot. Okay? So this is what I'll give to it. I will tell it to take the width of the whole session, first and foremost, 100%, so that it does not give room for anybody to escape. Yes, if this thing has given you a lot of tough time, you understand what I mean. Width 100%. Then the height can just be 1 pixel, very tiny. It will be invisible. You don't have to see it. Nobody has to see it. The thing is that it's just going to keep everybody in their right place. Now the next thing I would do is this. There is what they call clear board. Clear. Now, if I say clear right, it means that I don't want to see anybody on the right hand side of what? Section footer. You use it most times for divs to, for other elements, other block element too, like divs, depending on what you want to do. If you want something to be, you don't want anything to the right of that element, simply do clear right. So also, if you don't want anything to the left of any element, do clear left. But mind you, the display type should be block. Now, for this, I don't want it anything on both sides. So I clear what? I clear both. So now, instead of having this thing, if I should refresh now, it's expected that this should go back to what it was. But let's see what we get. Are you seeing that nothing changed? Remember, I removed the height from section 1. Are you seeing it? No more height here. But because of this footer, everything is arranged. This is so that if I'm to enclose it, more like if it's going to open on a mobile browser, in that case, it's possible that this purple div will have to go underneath, under the green div, more like come back to arrange itself just under. This session will just simply expand based on the content. You get it? So the 1 pixel div we've just added is right under here, and has made this as forced this session 1 to take the height of this floating content. That's just a little trick I use most of the time. Since I resolved that, that became a past tense. So don't worry, it's actually as simple as you're saying it. So let's move on quickly. We're going on to do the what? This is very simple. It's going to take the same design with take the same thing with what? The slide of banner element 3, but I'll just do that to fulfill righteousness. I guess you should use that to more like memorize it. So element 3 will be having the feature of more like banner. Everything remains the same. Sometimes you do that when you're in a haste. Just simply copy and paste. Hashtag what's your name, element 3. What am I putting in? Let's see, we're picking is the same thing with banner, so I just simply take what is here and put it there. Where are you? Are we okay? Yeah, okay. Let me give you the impression that it's a bit different, so let me reduce the height to 150 pixels actually, if that will make you happy. Oh, sorry. Are we seeing that? That's just coming entered. So that's what element 3. So who else? Who's left? Footer, right? Our footer is more, very similar to the header. So we can just do that. I like copying and pasting the names, the IDs, as it is called, because I don't want to make mistakes with that. So you would just not know where that problem is coming from, especially when it happens. It's the same thing with the header, so I can simply just pick from here. Are we together now? Okay, I can make that 30 pixels actually, because I'm going to pad a little later. It mustn't be that big. Okay, so congrats, we've just finished putting out the layout the way we have it in our diagram. Okay, and you may want to write something inside to make you get a feeling that it's actually what we did. So header is header, banner is banner, element 1 is element 1, and this is element 2, and this is element 3. Where am I? Okay, and this is element 3. Yeah, don't worry, I'm not putting in the paragraph or some tags. It still works that way. Actually, when you want to do the real work, you actually would know if you want a paragraph, a bolded, in bold, italics, or whatever. You do that. Okay, you can see all the write-ups are more of inside. And okay, I don't want to come and start doing all this align center something, but I just, if you want it at the middle, just use the align center, and that will bring all of them to the middle. CSS style for the div, align center, align center. You can just call out the divs and say align center. They will all come to the middle. Now, like I said before, this session will be rounded up. We should be able to achieve apart from the responsive, we should be able to achieve responsiveness, and so that's the major target. Have a responsive layout. Now, as simple as this thing looks, it's more like a secret to having a responsive website if you would follow this tutorial carefully. So let's look at the header now. Now we would want to create a menu inside of this header. I don't want to have I don't want to just have a logo above and put the header somewhere, or just put the menu somewhere. I would want to have my logo, or probably the name of the website, call it the title or something here. Then I would actually have my menu probably somewhere around this point. So let's do that as quickly and as simple as possible.